What's up guys, it's Raccoon back with another video, and in this video I'm going to be taking a look at my YouTube studio. So for a while now I've been slowly refining my little YouTube studio or space. I make my videos here in my bedroom, and so now it's at a point where I'm pretty happy with it. I'm probably not going to change it for a while, so I thought I might make a video on it. So to edit my videos, I use a PC setup. It's a pretty low-powered PC compared to other PCs you can get, but I'm still pretty happy with the performance I'm getting, and it does the job for me. It's got an i5 and 8GB of RAM. The 8GB of RAM is pretty low, so I do run out of RAM quite often, but everything else about the PC works perfectly fine, and it also has an AMD 7870 HD graphics card. On the PC setup, I use two monitors because that's what I find most functional. It works best for me, and then I have a Logitech speaker set for audio and a SteelSeries headset, and then I've got a microphone set up for voiceovers and Zoom calls and just calls in general, and that is my custom made microphone, and I made a video on that as well. And then also, speaking of microphones, I can switch the cable, take it from the XLR on this one, which I'm not using now by the way, I'll move that away. I can switch the XLR from that into the Rode NTG2, which is what I'm using right now. And I also use a Corsair K70 keyboard and a default Microsoft mouse because they just do the job for me and I don't need anything better. But then onto the cameras. The main camera I use here is the Canon 70D. This camera is really good for the price. I really like the 1080p footage it gives me. Even though it's only 1080p, it's pretty close to 4K actually because of that high bit rate it gives. So it gives a very nice footage and I really like it. Then for my B cam, which I don't use very often, it is the Canon 1200D. This camera is pretty good, but it's not something I would personally recommend because you could just save up another $150 over this $250 camera and get the 70D for $400. So I kind of wish I bought two 70Ds, but this still does the job, and as you can see, it still looks perfectly fine. Then the lenses I use on these cameras, my talking head cam, which is my main camera, the Canon 70D, I use the 35mm to 70 f2.8 to f4, and at the moment it's at 35mm at 2.8. I used to use a 28mm f2.8, which is what I'm actually using on my B cam, but I upgraded to this lens because it is a lot more versatile, so I can use it also for B-roll and not just for the A-roll. And then of course, another lens I use for this channel, mainly for B-roll, is a 50mm f1.9. I love this lens so much because of the bokeh it produces. It has a really nice blur and makes everything look really professional. And this lens was actually only $10 from a op shop, and these two lenses were $30 each. They're all vintage lenses. And moving on to the lighting. Lights I used is actually pretty simple, just one light setup. And this light is one that I personally made myself. I did actually make a video on it. You can check it out. It'll be up here probably. This light is very good. It has a nice diffusion thing I made on it. I actually made two of them. And so I have one for my B-roll here, which is more maneuverable. And speaking of B-roll, the way I film my B-roll is actually really simple. Just behind me, I have like a little flat wooden station, I guess. Well, I call it the B-roll station. And it's just a nice wooden surface where I put a blue background and I'm able to film the B-roll nicely. And so it's a great place to film my B-roll. And then for my tripods, not that they're very interesting. I don't really know many of the brands, but I do know I have a Manfrotto tripod for my main B-roll, which has a fluid head on it, which I got for very cheap. It's a bad fluid head, but it still does the job for me. And I put that on the Manfrotto legs, so it is actually a good tripod in general. Then this one is some Velbon tripod. It's nice and small, and I can just always have it set up to put the Canon 70D on. And then this one is some random tripod I got from somewhere for free, and I just got that and chucked my 1200D on it for my B cam. And my backdrop here, as you can see, has a salt lamp here, and then over here it has a lava lamp with glitter in it, so it's not really a lava lamp, but it's pretty cool anyway. And then I've got like a blue light shining on it to give it some nice colors or whatever. That blue light changes locations. The whole backdrop changes quite often, but in general the actual location of it and everything stays the same. I just change the lights pretty much. So that's all the things I use for this studio. And something you may notice is that this YouTube studio is really refined to be easy to use. I have my microphone stand always set up just facing me here, so I can just sit down on this seat, put my camera on the tripod, which is always set up as well, and same with my light, and I just turn on the light and press record, and that's how easy it is. And so I really like how this setup has been refined. I used to have to move my tripod every time and set up my lights every single time I would record, and that was just annoying. So I'm happy I've refined it to a nice point where it's very easy to just put the camera on and record. So hopefully you did enjoy this video. If you did, drop a like. If you didn't, drop a dislike. Remember to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.